Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys from Africa. But we love you also in South America. So they speak in Spanish all over the world. Big C is not just in Latin America. We still love you in Canada. Sorry about what the Yankees did yesterday. But Big C, there's nobody we love more than you good old boys down south, in the land of the free, in the home on the brave, on a beautiful March 30th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Charlton, we finally made it to the weekend. Not being inebriated and all of that, and we're here ready to have some fun. We've enjoyed a great week in sports, the opening of Major League Baseball, the final weekend of the Final Four, both men's and women. Hockey is great right now, Charlton. Just an exciting time.
Yeah, it's always an exciting time, especially in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. And I do want to say, for so many people, I want to wish you a very happy Easter. Whether you celebrate Easter or not, it's a great holiday. You can eat lots of Easter eggs and chocolate bunnies, Big C. Big C, I kind of feel bad for you good old boys down south. I had some friends from the south one time, and I sent them a bunny rabbit on Easter. They sent it back because they said it wasn't fresh meat. Big C, that make any sense?
Charlton, we like to catch ours moving. We don't want it in a cage. We know that it's had exercise and it's burned off all that fatty acid and everything in the system. So, but they always appreciate the gesture. You got to listen next time they tell you how to ship it.
I guess what I learned, Southern hospitality means send the rabbit fresh. It was chocolate. It was my fault. The chocolate was melted. I should have put it on the ice, Big C. You live and you learn, Big C. But so much happening in the world of sports and entertainment. You mentioned the beautiful opening day of Major League Baseball. I think they had over 33 home runs hit on the opening day. No, Barry Bonds is not playing, Big C, but somebody's hitting home runs. I know if Barry was playing, they'd say it's him, but maybe it's something to do with the bat or the ball. I do want to say some NBA guys don't know how to control their temper, so maybe they'll learn that. We know we're really happy about March Madness, the women and the men, the NIT last night. Penn State got over on Utah. But before we get into that, I just want to mention that we are going into the Masters coming up next week. I know they're having the Houston Open now, but everybody's getting ready for the Masters. And Donald Trump, he wanted to get a head start, but he went down to Mar-a-Lago for his Big C. Doesn't he know the Masters is actually in Georgia, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, he thinks the South is one place, Charlton.
Yeah.
But I put it to you this way: half those boys that hang out at Augusta, he wouldn't allow them to hang out at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I think prior to his election, he said if he was elected president, that he'd be spending time in the White House. Yeah. Not on golf courses like Obama was doing.
Yeah.
But I think already he has exceeded in his first year and, a quarter or a third of his presidency, more trips than Obama had done to a golf course in 8 years.
Yeah.
So, it seems like whenever there's anything stringent going on in D.C., he's heading out of town. Yeah. And I always thought that presidents held an annual Easter egg hunt at the White House. Yeah. And, since it only brings in common kids, from common families, he didn't want anything to do with that.
No.
If they weren't kids of billionaires who don't go out and play on the grass, he didn't want to be there.
Well, like they say, if you don't have $1 billion, do you even really matter in America, in the new America, Big C? We can always have a debate about that. I know it's been custom, going even back to, I know Ronald Reagan, Bush, Obama, they all threw out the first pitch on opening day. I don't know if Trump missed opening day throwing out the pitch. It's what, when you make America great again, America's good for baseball, apple pie, and all that good old boy stuff. Did POTUS make it out to a ballpark? I think there's one up in D.C., close to his neck of the woods. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, matter of fact, they even had a game in Washington yesterday, and Scherzer pitched in that game. He had 10 strikeouts, and POTUS was nowhere to be found. I don't even know if he knows that baseball is a national pastime. But, there's been a lot of traditions that previous presidents have done in the past as far as Americana.
Oh, yeah.
But, as I say, previous presidents, we may have a little void in that White House stature right now.
Yeah.
Not understanding American traditions, American standards,
yep,
and just American ethics.
Yeah, well, speaking of ethics, I do want to bring up something that because we keep it real on Big C Sports Show, I want to congratulate Laura Ingraham, the Fox News reporter, that has had sponsors pulling out because they told her to shut up and stay at her lane, Big C. So now she comes back and apologizes to one of the kids down at the high school in Florida by making fun of him.
Douglas.
Yeah, she made fun of him for not getting into UCLA with I think he had a 4.2 GPA, which is a lot higher than the one she had. But what kind of news and what kind of message does it send to Fox News when they have such enmity for the lives of young people that you insult young people that are trying to ask for adults to make life safe for them? Not only are these people bright, they know how to reach out on social media, and I applaud many of the sponsors that are said they don't want to back her garbage. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you know, when you look at Fox News, Charlton, the average median age of their viewer is 63 years of age.
Yeah.
So she's thinking that she could go make fun of the youth of America to these aged people, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so these are people, well, you think about it, the median age is 63. So these are the people who lived through Jim Crow.
Yeah.
You know, segregation in America. And so they happily follow Fox News.
Yeah.
Because they reckon back to the time that Trump talked about when we had our own country.
Yeah.
You know, when we did not have to share with the minorities in this country. That's why his base follows Fox News.
Yeah.
But the ignorance of a Laura Ingraham, once again, has risen its ugly snake-bitten head.
Yeah.
You know, when she attacked LeBron James.
Yeah.
One of the biggest activists and socialists in American society.
Yep.
As far as equality.
Yeah.
And then she wants to attack the children of Stoneman Douglas High School.
Teenagers.
Who just went through the most heinous school shooting in high school history.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
And she's attacking these young people for taking a stance against violence and guns.
Yeah.
In America. So she's drawing to her base.
Yeah.
These people that are 63 and up who said we could do whatever we want in America without being oppressed and spoken back against. Because you could, as a youth,
yeah,
you know, 60 years ago in America, you couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
You know, as a minority 60 years ago in America, you couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
These people are the base of Fox.
Yeah.
That's why when they say Fox is the #1 news broadcast company in the United States, that's of people, you know, averaging 63 years of age.
And people who don't care. Yeah.
But when you attack young people in America,
yeah,
that have been shot at and saying that they're stupid and should shut up,
yeah,
and stay in their lane, what does that represent as a company?
Yeah.
And for Fox to even keep her on air, it shows how stupid Fox is.
Yeah, and I just wonder, and for everybody who has a child, and you know, the main thing for any parent, we talk about sporting events all the time, and you know, you can't even get into a game. Even in media, when I go to any sporting event, I have to walk through a baton, a metal detector, and everything that keep me safe. They look in my bag, and I pour the moonshine out before I get through the media part, Bixie, and just being flippant about that. But they check you even when you're in media, and they know who you are before you even come in the game. But for every parent that has ever had to go up to the school to get your kid because you heard of anything that went on, let alone a mass shooting by another person in the United States, and for that media representative or that media company, I wonder what Fox, they've already been through the O'Reilly thing with the sexual assault of women, and they hit him for that, and in fact they gave him $32 million to go away, and then they have all of the hatred that comes against African American athletes.
The president of Fox was the same way, Charlton.
Same thing.
He enabled, O'Reilly, as well as he was terminated.
Yeah. For
sexual misconduct in the workplace.
Yeah, and so I just wonder, I mean, America's a land of the free, the home of the brave. You can compete for anything. You can Google anything, with every sports show in North America is talking. Google it now, Big C. I wonder where they learned that. But when you think about it, for one person to have such enmity for young kids, you wonder how she even keeps the job. So I'm proud of the sponsors that are pulling away, but I'm even surprised that Fox wants that representation on their airways when people just had the services less than 30 days ago, And here's a woman insulting one of the person who will probably be affected for the rest of his life. Big C, what does that say about Fox, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, because you're a racist and biased network, Charlton. That's what Fox is. Fox, goes to that 33% of Trump's base.
Yeah.
That's their listening core, Charlton, is that whatever venom that they spew, these people believe. If you ever watch Fox at night, they stay on the same subject over and over for months.
Yeah.
It's like their number one story is a Uranium One story.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Saying that Clinton was involved in it, and she wasn't involved in it. Then they want to talk about the Clinton emails. That's been 3 years ago, if not longer.
Yeah.
Those are still their stories.
Yeah.
They won't talk about the issues of the White House.
Yeah.
They won't talk about people being fired, arrested, sentenced. They won't talk about this Republican alleged scandal that's going on.
Yeah.
It's like even today, Secretary of the EPA, Scott Pruitt, another Trump appointee, has come under fire for having special housing relationships with a member of their donation team.
Really?
He had this special deal with her. Not only that, he was flying around the country first class with his staff.
Wow.
Saying that, he needed to be there and it was for security reasons. No one even knew who the hell or cared who he was.
Yeah.
You're the EPA chief. And he's the guy, and for the reason of all these bans being lifted that was put in by previous administration.
Yeah.
And saying there's no greenhouse gases and no global warming.
Yeah.
His administration is saying that.
Yeah, well, it's all fair in love and war. I just hope that young people Google, and for every young kid that's standing up for the lives of your former friends, the ones that you've seen that you had to say your final goodbyes to them, to have somebody as insensitive as a Laura Ingraham. I thought our country had progressed, but I know certain pockets refuse to do that. But I'm proud of the networks that don't want to advertise behind that garbage, and I hope that more of them are to come. Big C, I do want to touch on something that happened yesterday in Major League Baseball. It's of course a great sport. I mean, nothing's like football and basketball, but we do like baseball. It's a great sport. And I look at the New York Yankees. I know that baseball's better when the Yankees are better. But I also know that mainstream, most media markets, they don't want to see that mega team. A lot of people hated seeing how the Golden State Warriors were put together. A lot of people hated seeing how the Lakers assembled all those great players back in the day, from Kareem to Magic to Scott to Worthy. They resented that. Are we seeing that same thing happen again with the Yankees? They've been dominant as a baseball franchise. Are they doing it again with Stanton and all the good old boys that they brought back to that organization? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the baseball season was a long season, but, they did get off to a rocket-fire start when you think about Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
He went for two. He was 3 for 5 yesterday, Charlton.
Yeah.
2 home runs and a double. And, he's the first Yankee since 1960 when Roger Maris went 3 for 5 with 2 home runs on opening day.
Yeah.
But just a great start for the Yankees up north of the border. It's going to be imperative if he can keep that type of hitting streak going on, because in Maris's next game, he was only 1 for 4.
Yeah.
So can Stanton get more than 1 hit tonight against the Blue Jays? But, the Yankees have always been a solid organization. They were in the playoffs last year as the wild card team.
Yeah.
They got knocked out by 1 game in that 7-game series, Charlton. So this is a very solid organization.
Yeah.
If their pitching stays healthy, you spoke about CC Sabathia yesterday.
Yeah.
He had an off year last year. If he can regain his form from 3 years ago, Charlton, the Yankees are going to be the horse in the East. Now, you think about Giancarlo Stanton hitting 2 home runs yesterday.
Yeah.
And his former team, the Marlins, on the first pitch of their game, they gave up a home run.
Yeah, and when I was watching that, do the fans down in Florida know that they started baseball yesterday? Because it looks like anyone could have gotten in there and gotten a seat in it. And I know baseball's a great game, but and I know it probably won't happen, and maybe it shouldn't even happen. I know they put a lot of money in that organization. And that good old boy, A-Rod decided to try to get rid of Stanton because he wanted to get rid of some of the better players so they could start anew. I mean, that's like starting. Why would you trade in your good relationship with players and the players who people know to start something new? But they got what they wanted, and hardly any people showed up for their game. And I just wonder, are they saying if you're going to get rid of our best players, we're not going to support your organization? Do you think that's what happened down in Florida, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, that was Derek Jeter, who is now in ownership partnership with the Marlins.
Yeah.
And the fans are revolting back. They're saying, okay, you don't want to build a winner. You can't expect us to support a team that may only win 40 to 50 games in this upcoming season.
Yeah.
You're asking me to go to work every day, come home, take a shower, come to the game, pay for parking, get in the game, buy some concessions, sit down and watch a lackluster performance. And I got to buy a program just to even know who's in the lineup. To know anything about these guys. You trade away the only all-stars that this team has had. And say we're in a rebuilding process. As we've seen in all professional sports, Charlton, rebuilding processes do not exist.
No.
That's a thing of the past. You don't build teams through the draft, through your farm system. That's football, basketball, baseball, hockey. You got to make some trades. You got to get players who are used to playing that professional sport at the professional level.
And
so to say I'm going to bring up guys from AAA and they're going to be impact players, it's just not going to happen.
No, you look.
There's the reason they're in the lesser league, Charlton.
And you think about their highest salary is $13 million for Martin Pedro. He's a third baseman, and then Starlin Castro, second baseman, $11 million. Now, when you look at what they've done, their total payroll is $82 million. And I think about, if you look at the Dodgers' total payroll, is $156 million. So when you look at $82 million and $156 million, the fans have to say, Florida, you think about Miami, that's a world-class city. Everybody wants to go to Florida. It's a gorgeous place to live. And then I contrast that with my brethren up in Canada. And I look at Toronto, what a great stadium with the dome that opens, and the fans, they had the bunting out. And you look at their total payroll, $162 million. Now, that's a team that at least has put the money out there to have fans get excited. But I know down in Florida, they're going to find a way to say, well, we're going to save money now so we can rebuild. And the Miami Marlins are going to have to deal with that lackluster fan base. I even saw, not just Miami, but I looked at Chicago. And I looked at what the White Sox had. And I know they're not the Cubs. They're more like the second city when you think about it. $86 million is the payroll for the Chicago White Sox. The Chicago Cubs, $182 million. Almost $100 million more in the payroll for the Cubs. There's no wonder they're better. So just even these major cities, Big C, they're not necessarily doing whatever they can to earn the fans to come put butts in the seat. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, and baseball has revenue sharing, Charlton. So they all make a certain amount of money that's equal, just like in the NFL and the NBA. Even if you're a smaller market team, you have these teams choosing not to invest that money from an ownership perspective back into the players. And so they don't get players that want to come there and play. The free agency market, they miss it completely. And so they say they're going to develop from the farm system. That means that you're always chasing. You might get lucky 1 out of 8 years if you're trying to run something through the farm system. So you're telling the fans, sit around for 7 years.
And wait.
Where we're non-productive. And hopefully on that 8th year that we'll have a winning team. And we know that Miami has a history of winning, Charlton. Even when they won World Series when they were playing in Joe Robbie Stadium as the Marlins. They didn't pack the house there, Charlton, other than their first year in the league as an expansion franchise. But that city, period, you look at the Miami Dolphins history. When they were at the Orange Bowl, it was always a packed house.
Always.
When they moved to Joe Robbie, it was not in Miami any longer, and it came harder to fill the stadium. Matter of fact, they've even reduced the size of the stadium over the past couple of years. Whatever the name of the stadium is now. You look at the University of Miami Hurricanes. That when they were one of the college football elite programs. That they packed more people in the Orange Bowl than the Dolphins did.
Yeah.
So this was a region of the country, Charlton, that had been spoiled by success. And so they don't know how to go out there and watch an also-ran team or program not entertaining them every day.
Yeah.
And because when you live in one of the most electric cities in America, you know, you think of cities like New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Miami, those cities, people recognize them when you say excitement in America. Those are the top 4 cities people gravitate to.
Yeah.
And it also reflects on their fan following in their arenas, Charlton, when you're not being productive.
That's a good point, too. And speaking of fans and people who actually put money behind their franchise, I recall back in the latter part of the 90s, early 2000s, before the Giants had built AT&T Park down there off the Embarcadero Center in San Francisco, they were talking about going to Florida, of all places, to leave the West Coast to go down there to Florida. I look at the Giants' total payroll this year. Big C is $220 million. And I know they had 3 World Series championships in the last decade. You think about what they're doing, and they went down to the I-5 rivalry with the LA Dodgers, their loved and hated rivalry, and they shut them out 1-0 at Chavez Ravine. A lot of the Dodger faithful are thinking they had the hangover from what happened last year against Houston, because it looked like the same lackluster hitting at the bat. Now, here's a Dodger franchise that has a $156 million payroll. Kershaw's making $34 million. He had a decent game, but when you bring in the Giants, your hated rivals from up north, and they get a shutout, Big C, and there's something about payroll doesn't always mean production. I'm sure the Dodgers will pick it up. But is LA such a fickle town that there's already pushback after losing 1 game? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there shouldn't be pushback after 1 game. You think about the Giants, and you get shut out 1-0. That comes from outstanding pitching, Charlton.
Yeah.
And some great defensive plays. You think about the run that the Giants scored.
Yeah.
That came on an opposite field home run that just got inside the foul pole.
Yeah.
So this was a great pitching duel when you look at the end. 1-0.
Yeah.
You know, that this was a pitcher's contest. I mean, we can always talk about what we like most about professional sports is scoring.
Yeah.
But, you know, to understand the game of baseball, it's about defense first. It's not always about offense.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that occur defensively that can keep you in or out of the game.
Yep.
The right position of infielders, the outfielders, when certain batters come up the bat.
Yeah.
But having a pitcher hit all his spots, Charlton, that is the key to a great pitching contest. And we saw that last night between these two teams.
Yeah.
Being able to hit your spot on the plate, home plate, that's the difference.
Yeah, and I think that's important that the Dodger fans, they've been known as, they're not really fair weather, but based on San Francisco, the Giants always have sellouts. The Dodgers, even though they have sellouts, just driving through that traffic to get down to Chavez Ravine off of Interstate 5, it makes a lot of people arrive late. Sometimes even for sold-out games, they'll have people coming in the second and sometimes even third inning. So, sometimes they're tough on the Dodgers down there, but I still think they're going to have a great team this year. I think the West is going to come down to the Giants, if they stay healthy, challenging the Dodgers for that NL West. I do want to bring up something that's happening in Northern California this weekend called the Gladiator Challenge of Northern California, some of the best fighters in the world of the MMA. And I also want to thank my good friend, Adrian Pinion. You can follow him on Instagram at Town Today, following Big C Sports at the Thunder Valley and MMA Championships in Northern California. Should be a lot of stuff watching grown men get beaten up. Big C, and speaking of beaten up, I love the talk about the Final Four, especially for the men and the women. The women don't always get a lot of coverage, but we do know that they play a good brand of basketball. And tonight, on Friday, we have on ESPN2 in Columbus, Ohio, of all cities. You would think they could have got them in maybe New York City or in Los Angeles, but they're in Columbus, Ohio, and hopefully they'll turn up and support the Final Four. Louisville, Mississippi State, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then Notre Dame, they started after that game to play Connecticut. Many people are thinking it's just a coronation for UConn, and maybe it is because they blew out so many people. Is there anything that college basketball could do to get UConn to be more of the forefront to carry women's basketball? Because as dominant as they've been, could you imagine if they were the men's team at UConn winning the way they win? They would be, I guess, first-page news stories every day. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, one of the things when you look at women's basketball, Charlton, is that they don't have the marquee names other than Ariema.
Yeah.
And a couple others, but no one has the name of Ariema.
Yeah.
When you look at men's basketball, Charlton, the coaches have always been the marqueeism of the league, of the men's basketball.
Yeah.
You walk around, you see these coaches, and they talk about their salaries. You look how they dress.
Yeah.
Everything about the NCAA men's basketball has been about the coaches, not so much about the players.
Yeah.
Because so many of these players have gone on to the NBA. And so that's what makes it difficult to market the women's game.
Yeah.
Is because these men have been out there in pillars for so long in the media.
Yeah.
And people follow them and say, like, wow, how do you keep getting these top players?
Yeah.
How do you keep your program on top? So, far as just from a media perspective, the women can never compete against the men.
Yeah.
Even though when you look at their records, and you think about tonight, the first time in history in Columbus, Ohio, that you have 4 number 1 seeds playing in the Final Four.
Yeah.
If that had been the men's bracket, Charlton, think about the notoriety that would have blasted over all the media outlets, Charlton, that you see on television and radio.
Yeah.
They would have covered a half hour of each one of those programs to start with. They wouldn't have talked about football.
No.
They wouldn't have talked about baseball. It would have been like Tiger Woods playing during the tournament.
Yeah.
The ratings were down.
Yeah.
But this would have just captivated all of the media outlets if you'd have had 4 number 1 ranked men's teams.
Yeah.
But now in the men's bracket, the number 1 story is a 16th seed being in the Final Four.
Yeah.
You think about that. So if you can give a 16th seed more attention than you can give 2 number 1 seeds, and by the way, this is the first time that Loyola has been in the Final Four since 1963. It's been 55 years since they won the NCAA title, and kudos to that program also for reaching the Final Four.
Yeah.
But the women just don't get the notoriety of the men, Charlton.
Yeah, well, we hope they have great success, and we hope that people tune in and watch them. You really get to see good basketball. They're not as focused on the dunk as they are by running sets, so congratulations to both, I guess, all programs, Louisville, Mississippi State, Notre Dame, and UConn. Big C, I know that we like the March Madness. There's something about it, whether we pull for a team that's in there or pull for a team that's not in there. We have Louisville. I mean, Louisville's a staple program, but they're not there. But they've had so much attention on their program. A new hire, Pitino's out of it. And then you look at guys like even Calipari with Kentucky. Those big names are gone. And I know they're looking for the next John Wooden, which has to be, Krzyzewski, but he's not there either. So we look at the men's Final Four Saturday down in San Antonio, Texas. They're going to eat a lot of barbecue from what I understand, Big C. We have Loyola Chicago. We have Michigan. That's a 6:09 Eastern Time start. And then Villanova and Kansas will follow that game. Now, one team is from a small market, and that's Kansas. And we talked about earlier, you've talked about it for the last several years. How does Kansas out-recruit, say, UCLA? How do they out-recruit, say, St. John's? How do they out-recruit some of the major cities like Texas, University of Texas? But they have the coaching, they have the history, and there's something about being out there looking for Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz that makes them want to come to Kansas. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Bill Self and all the coaches prior to him, Charlton, have done such a marvelous job. You think about Roy Williams, Larry Brown.
Yeah.
And it all started with Fog Allen there years ago, Charlton. But there's something magical about this University of Kansas program. And with this game being in San Antonio, it's kind of a home game for them because it's in the heart of Big 12 country when you think about all the programs that are in Texas, in Oklahoma region. And Kansas, that's right there in that belt of the country.
Yeah.
So they will be the fan favorite in this game, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so they have a lot to prove. They won 14 consecutive championships in the Big 12.
Yep.
But, you look at Villanova with Wright. They won the title just 3 seasons ago, Charlton.
Yeah.
So he still has players on his program that were a part of that memorable moment.
Yeah.
So they can bring that veteranism into this game. the thing that we look at.
Yeah.
With this Final Four, Charlton. This is one of the more mature Final Fours that we've seen in a decade.
Yeah.
When you think about senior and junior leadership on these teams. So we're seeing a different brand of basketball than what people have been accustomed to, seeing a lot of these freshmen leading teams into the Final Four, freshman-laden programs.
Yep.
You now have seniors being rewarded for staying in college, reaching the championship, and especially Villanova. You have players that were there 3 years ago getting an opportunity for a second NCAA title. You look at Loyola's team that is senior-driven.
Yeah.
This is a team full of veterans. Michigan probably has the youngest team of everybody in the tournament. But Kansas, this is a team that makes a run every year because players stay around and complete their education, Charlton.
Yeah, that makes a big point when you have that senior leadership. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, even your mom and pop soccer leagues. When you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Just touching on March Madness, Kansas, you think about they're led by Malik Newman, averaging 21 points a game. Kansas, you think about it. Their stats, their offensive scoring, they average 81 points a game. Their defense gives up 71. So their scoring margin is 10. They shoot 49% field goals. And the three-point, they shoot 40%. So I think about getting to that 81-point margin, but they're going to be up against a tough team in Villanova led by McCall Bridges, shooting 44% from three-point range. They really love to shoot the long ball, Big C. Their scoring offense is averaging 87 points a game. Their defense gives up 70. Their scoring margin is 16. Okay? Their field goals, they shoot 50% from the field and 40% from three. That's a lot of points to overcome. The fact that Villanova is making their third trip to the Final Four, I mean, in the last several years, and I just think about it. They have a coach that wears $2,000 suits, and he always looks like he's the best dressed coach on the sideline. And I know they have that East Coast flavor. They come out of a conference where it's almost like the SEC of football, playing up in the northeast part of the country. I think that may give them the edge. They've been there before. Do you think being there more recently than Kansas gives them a better opportunity, Big C, to get the win?
Well, I really like Villanova's opportunity in this tournament, Charlton.
Yeah.
As I say, you got senior leadership on this team, and that goes a long way when you think about Jalen Brunson, who has done a tremendous job of leading this team, Charlton. That's the key, is that you got a point guard who has a command of the game.
Yeah.
He's not going to get frail or excited in this game.
No.
You're going to see a lot of poise, gamesmanship from the point guard. And teams who win at this time of the year, Charlton, are led by solid point guards.
Yeah.
A guy who understands how to control the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to see. I mean, yes, you can help the skelter basketball from time to time.
Yep.
But you also have, when you have a senior point guard, he knows how to back things down when needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that you don't always get with these teams that are freshman driven.
Yeah.
Is that they get excited and they don't know how to back away from the hype.
Yeah.
We recall that years ago with Michigan, when Chris Webber threw the ball or tried to call a timeout.
Yeah, the Fab Five,
Because he was youth.
Yeah.
He didn't have that experience to understand that we don't have timeouts. He got excited and caught up in the moment.
I remember that.
And so that hurts teams.
Yeah. I remember that similar thing happened when Georgetown, under John Thompson back in the day, had a game against North Carolina.
Similar, Brown threw the ball away.
Yeah, similar situation. Sometimes the pressure gets the players. I want to just look at Loyola Chicago. Clayton Custer averages 13 points a game in the Missouri Valley Player of the Year. You look at their scoring. They're putting up 72 points a game. Their defense gives up 62. They play sound fundamental defense, but their scoring margin is 9 points. They shoot 51% from the floor and 40% from three. You contrast that with Michigan by Moritz Wagner. The Wolverines are 18th in the country in three-pointers made. They like to fire the ball up too, Big C. Offensively scoring, Michigan's averaging 74 a game. Their defense gives up 63. Their scoring margin is only 11. They look at the field goal. They only shoot 47% from the floor and only 36% from three. If Loyola plays their defensive style of game, and also they have their 98-year-old nun on the sidelines cheering them on, cheering them on. This is a team that I know people believe in miracles, and then, we've heard that before with Al Michaels. Do you believe in miracles? I think he said it better than I. But I don't think there really would be a miracle if they won. If you look at who they've knocked off getting there, they've beaten Miami, which was favored to beat them. They got past Nevada, and they were winning their games by 1 point. So if they beat Michigan, and they're not favored to, because they only give up 62 points a game, I don't think that would be an upset, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, with Michigan, this is a team that's going to live by the three.
Yeah.
They have been in double digits and threes throughout the tournament, Charlton.
Yeah.
And that is what paved the way in their last game. That they had Texas A&M blown away before, they even had the tip-off.
Yeah.
They started shooting threes in the warm-ups, and they didn't know how to stop.
Like Steph Curry.
So,
yep.
So, this is one of those games, Charlton, that's intriguing, because when you look at Loyola and the history that they're facing, when they won this tournament 55 years ago, Charlton, it sparked race riots in America. That shows you how far America has come.
Oh, really?
To a degree.
Wow.
You think about it. This was a team that started 4 African Americans.
Yeah.
And so it set off race riots. And so, because America was not ready to have African Americans dominating a sport that had always been white.
Wow.
When you think about the titles.
Yeah.
And so that's how America has changed over time. Well, it now embraces the African American athletes.
Yeah.
When they go out and win.
Yeah.
But Loyola is that feel-good story, Charlton, that, they've come from the ashes, basically the rise of the phoenix.
Yeah.
When you look at what this program has done, how they've persevered, and you spoke about the 1-point victory, that's having tenacity, Charlton.
Yeah.
The will to win when it's close. You find a way. I remember the shot against Nevada.
Yeah.
When he came around off a pick and raised up and knocked down a three, which made the difference in the game, Charlton.
Yeah.
You have to understand, when you get to this time of the season, you have to seize opportunities.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to be the shining moment that will lead you to victory or cost you a victory, Charlton.
Yeah.
Loyola has been very fortunate in their pursuit of this national title to be able to seize all of those opportunities.
Yeah, they've definitely done a good job of that. And I think about Michigan. Now, here's a team that comes in with a marquee name. You brought up the Fab Five, and, of course, Weber with that infamous play at the end of the game. And I believe they were playing North Carolina in that game. And if you look at the history, now, Michigan's known mostly for football dominance. Even though it's mostly Big Ten dominance, they haven't won a national championship in some time. But they still have that football mentality. 3 yards in a cloud of dust back in the days of Bo Schembechler, made really famous for the games against Ohio State and always going to the Rose Bowl. The Michigan program has been more successful in terms of getting to the championship game, be it basketball, but they still don't carry the torch for the University of Michigan. They don't play in front of 110,000 like they do in the football program. But there's something about this team. They've always had to challenge teams like Purdue. They have to challenge teams like Ohio State. And, of course, Michigan State under Izzo and all the challenges they've been through. So if they carry the torch for Michigan, if they were to lose, would they consider it an upset if you're in the state of Michigan? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, every team that loses, you can count on it as an upset.
Yeah.
But, they haven't won the national title since led by Glenn Rice back in the early 90s, Charlton.
Yeah.
So this is a program that has had quite a drought. You look at the teams that are in there. Yes, Villanova and Kansas have won more recently.
Yeah.
It's been a long time in between, especially for Loyola and Michigan. But, you have two hardy programs that are under different climates.
Yeah.
Michigan is that young team that is able to go out and recruit some of the top 100 players in America. Loyola's the afterthought in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And you think about where Loyola sits.
Yeah.
They're right in the middle of Big Ten country, Charlton.
Yeah.
The University of Illinois is there. Northwestern is there.
Yeah.
Right there outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
So, they're competing and getting the players that really the Big Ten didn't want it. You spoke about the two Michigan schools, which are in adjacent state. You got Ohio State that sits right there, where the ladies' Final Four is being played tonight.
Yeah.
So when you think about getting local players, the best local players are looking to go to the Big Ten schools.
Yeah.
They're getting the players who may have been an afterthought if there just wasn't a scholarship available at a Big Ten school.
Yeah.
So that's why these players play with that little bit of chip on their shoulders.
Yeah.
They've watched those teams on television every weekend. No one really knew who Loyola was until the tournament started.
Yeah.
And they knocked off Virginia. They're like, whoa, who the heck is that?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, people playing and taking notice. They've had more people know about Loyola Chicago in the past 3 weeks than probably known about them in the last 3 years, Charlton.
Yeah, and so we wish them nothing but the best. And speaking of that, I just want to touch on something. Because we know we talk about it, and we've been talking about it, Big C, for about 3 years now. Money talks. And when you don't have it, it's painful. When you do have more than you need, then you can live a gluttonous lifestyle, but some people call it blessed. No matter what you call it. I want to look at the president, Mark Emmert of the NCAA, who's a multimillionaire, doesn't shoot baskets, doesn't score touchdowns, but finally, with all the pressure, we talk about when you're dumb, people don't respect you. But a lot of athletes have made such a loud outcry to say we need to get some form of compensation. As a student athlete, they do it for Olympic athletes. They let them make money on their name. They let them get endorsements, even though they have that amateur status. And now, I guess Condoleezza Rice is brought to the forefront because they want to really look finally and how do we stop robbing these kids, Big C? And you're robbing people when the average athlete that plays in March Madness is African American. Most of them don't come from maybe a middle class family, just looking at numbers. But a lot of them help make schools hundreds of millions of dollars. And now you have the president, Mark Emmert, saying, we want to look at how to fix this. Okay, his bank account's overflowing, Big C. You go to his bank account, he doesn't have to have a hold on any of his checks that he writes. But to act like, well, I just have my eyes open, I just had an epiphany, when even the athletes have been talking about this for a long time, why is it now starting to happen where they at least have the president talking about how they have taken advantage of the kids for such a long time, now they want to try to make it right? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think when the FBI came in, they all of a sudden had this epiphany. Oh, somebody knows what we're doing. It's not under the radar any longer. This is not a consciousness that he's having.
No.
It is that because they're being exposed by a federal agency, that they can't duck and dodge and say, well, it's inappropriate to do this and that for kids. As this investigation goes on and uncovering more and more scandalous activity from these universities and the NCAA. They're trying to say, okay, we'll save face and we'll try to find a way to compensate these kids. Because we're making billions. And we're taking advantage of it. This is extortion, realistically. It's extortion. Any way you look at it, is that we're extorting them. We're saying we're giving you a scholarship. But if you broke down, and every fan who wants to sit around there, and what bothers me so much are the analysts that on TV that were former college athletes that got paid while they were in school.
Give me my money.
I know that. Because I'm one of those. Okay.
Allegedly.
I'll be honest about it. I'm outside the investigation. But all the guys who say you can't pay college athletes. Why don't you take the money back that you got while you were in college and give it back to the booster and his flunky who gave it to you? Okay? You got paid. So when these guys sit up and say, well, you can't pay college athletes, that's a bunch of bull. Okay? Because we got paid. A lot of us did. And it's still going on. You don't get players, and we always talk about Kansas. How do you get the players to come out there? It's more than just the wheat they got out there, okay? Trust me, it's more than just the wheat.
Did you say, hold on, I'm in California. Did you say wheat Like something you see. Okay, just making sure. Okay.
Grain.
You know I'm from California.
California green.
Okay, be careful.
You might be able to grow some of it in the wheat field. You never know. It's very color time.
You never know. You never know.
You know, when you sit there and you say you can't pay players.
Yeah.
That has been the biggest lie that's ever been held in college athletics.
Yeah.
Because there's always a dozen players on any university's team program that gets paid. Football, basketball that are combined.
Yeah.
They get paid. You're not going to all of a sudden see the number one college recruit go to a school that hasn't won in 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, they haven't had a winning record in 20 years. All of a sudden, they got the number one recruit in the country.
Yeah.
Wow. How did they pull that off? You know, all of a sudden, somebody's dad got a job in the program or in high school coach.
Yeah.
I don't care how you look at the pay. It's a payoff.
Yeah. It's not only a payoff, Big C. It's funny how Emmert said that at his annual address at the Final Four, that leaders in college athletics, the leaders in college, the one with $1 million bank account, that they were dismayed. Okay? If you Google dismayed, they were shocked. They were shocked and surprised that people were doing things that they don't want them to do in order to get players to come. We've heard about it over the years. But they've never addressed the fact that not paying players is an antitrust violation. That means it's illegal for you to go to boys down south. It's illegal. But they haven't addressed that. They've been fighting it with their lawyers to have it shut down for years. And so when you think about that, and I think about one of the things that you watch now from back in the days when I was in college, you hardly know what team is representing what university now, because every team tends to have like 12 different uniforms. Not just the University of Oregon, but you have so many major college programs now that have a different attire for their home games and their away games because they make money by marketing merchandising that's worn by their student athletes, Big C, and they're dismayed that people are getting money the way that they're helping the schools make money. Big C, that make any sense?
There was normally your university color that you wore and a white jersey on away games or whatever.
Yeah.
But now, Charlton, as you spoke about, Oregon has 37 uniform combinations.
Yeah.
You look at Ohio State, has at least a half a dozen. Louisville was the same way.
Yeah.
All these major programs, North Carolina, are changing up. Even Notre Dame has different uniform combinations.
Yeah.
And they were as plain could get.
Yeah.
But, this is happening. Washington State, all over the country, we see it. So there's revenue being generated because, especially if you got kids, they want the new jersey.
The new every
Okay?
Yeah.
So you got to buy that new handle to put on them.
Yeah.
And so they're buying the jersey of the likeness of the player that they enjoy the most.
Yeah.
Top player on the team. That's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're saying, well, there's no revenue around.
Yeah.
Why does the university, if there's no revenue, let the players keep the revenue off the uniforms?
Yeah.
Every uniform that's sold in the bookstore, every jersey, every sweater that has a player's number on it, that money goes into the pool for the team.
Makes sense.
Because if you look at how many of those that are sold every year, you're in a Big Ten country like you talked about with Ohio State and Michigan having 100+ thousand.
Yeah.
Penn State, 100+ thousand at their games. Wisconsin, 90,000.
Yeah.
Michigan State, 80,000 at their games. So you're going to tell me that you're not selling 10 to 15,000 jerseys each game at those stadiums?
Yeah.
Every game. And you got 7 home games, Charles.
Yeah.
That's a lot of revenue that could go into the pockets of these players. And I know they're getting anywhere from $25 to $40 for these jerseys, if not more.
25 to 40. Have you seen the newest yet? Talk about upwards of $50 for the jersey. I tried to buy one. I said, well, no, I'm going to get it donated to me like some of the coaches get donations, Big C. So that's why I'm getting my college paraphernalia. I just got to bring up that CBS Sports, and we love CBS, but they will pay about $1 billion for broadcast rights for the men's tournament, okay? $1 billion with a B. Now, the college coaches have already made about $5 million in performance bonuses alone because of the tournament. And we know last year Saban made $11 million coaching them good old boys down in Alabama. And we're all for everybody getting money. But it's nice that not only Big C Sports, but some of the other broadcast brethren are starting to bring it up that let's stop robbing these kids and acting like we're all naive. And when we brought up Patino before we talked about March Madness, how he lost his job. And I mean, maybe he should have. But to act like they're shocked that things go on.
Think about this, Charlton.
Yeah.
You got a college basketball coach losing his job over money.
Yep.
What the hell they pay him? Money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They give him a recruiting budget.
Yep.
Nobody in administration said, what are you doing with the money?
Nope.
Okay, that money's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's not coming out of the coach's pocket.
Yeah.
When they say that $100,000 or that $10,000 or that $25,000 that alleged went to a player,
yeah,
it's not coming out of the coach's pocket. He's not that stupid.
No, he's not that dumb.
You know, he's like the president. My attorney did it because he likes it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody has an attorney that pays $130,000 for entertainment. Big C, does that make any sense?
Well, you know, the guy's popular. He had a TV show.
Yeah.
But, you know, when they sit there and they want to sit there and the NCAA act like... The NCAA has known these things have happened.
Oh, yeah.
So Mark Emmert and all the previous presidents of the NCAA have been aware of the financial improprieties that have gone on.
Yeah.
But when you say that you're firing a coach because of financial improprieties, Charlton, there's no coaches left in college basketball or college football. They're all gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can always have a scapegoat getting rid of one, two, saying, okay, now we've called all the bad apples.
Yep.
You haven't done that, Charlton.
Well,
all you did was get a couple of big names to say we've done it. It's just like in baseball and football.
Yeah.
When they say, okay, this guy's been suspended for performance enhancement.
Yeah.
And especially in baseball, guy's not even on the starting lineup. He's not even an everyday player, some utility player that gets suspended for 50 games, you know, to deflect so the other players can get clean.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, we get guys suspended for performance enhancement all the time.
Yeah.
They're backup players.
Yeah.
So you always have a sacrificial lamb that they feel is not integral in a team's success.
Yep.
But in the NFL, you got to sit and look and ask yourself the question.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw an all-pro player suspended for performance enhancement? Even in the NBA, I've never seen anybody suspended for performance enhancement. Now, anybody use what they do.
Wow.
With the recovery that they need, turnaround-wise, playing all those games.
Well, I'd say
baseball players, the ones who have the least amount of contact.
Yeah.
Get hit the most with performance enhancement.
Yeah.
We have it in college basketball also. But what's the performance enhancement of money across the table in college athletics?
Yeah.
That's performance enhancement, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. That's true.
Performance enhancement.
Yeah. Well, we know that's always part of what happens in sports. Like they always say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And so I want to wish congratulations in advance to not only Villanova, but to Kansas, Michigan, and Loyola of Chicago. I wish you all nothing but the best as you march toward topping that. What they call it? They pass in church. What they do? They pass the bucket in church. Okay, they passing the bucket for March Madness in the tune of $1 billion. So, and I do appreciate, in all seriousness, that the president of the NCAA wants to see if they can have more serious dialogue, Mark Emmert, and I think he's so sincere about it. They're going to make it retroactive, and they're going to even give back some of the money that's been made from these tournaments over the last 10 years, Big C, since they want to go back that far. And I think you put your money where your mouth is. So I think President Mark Emmert, he'll step up and have some type of fund or annuity, and going back to the last 10, maybe even 20 years, to help compensate players because they just now realize something was happening. Big C, is that a stretch? Big C, your thoughts?
It's a stretch, Charlton. It's just like the NFL not recognizing CTE.
Yeah.
Still today, Charlton, the NFL does not come out wholeheartedly and say, yes, we knew that CTE existed 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That would be the same as the NCAA saying, well, we knew that it was improper 10 years ago not to give players compensation.
Yeah.
These leagues are money mongers, Charlton.
Yeah.
They're not willing to share the wealth with anybody other than those who are already wealthy.
Yeah.
But to say that a student athlete is worthy of $1 I mean, you think about how harsh that is.
Yeah.
To say that they don't deserve the opportunity to live comfortably.
Yeah.
Not only are you forced to carry the same academic load of any other full-time student,
yeah,
but you're also required to practice and play games a total of 20 hours a week, Charlton, that you have to participate in.
Yeah, yeah.
And film work, traveling, games, 20 hours extra a week that you're not compensated for.
Yeah.
So at least pay them for that 20 hours a week. Okay, that's an easy way to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it would be state minimum wage because in some states the minimum wage is atrocious.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, you think about it, they have to put in that extra 20 hours a week in athletics.
Yeah.
And they do. That's universal across the board. And you say you can't figure out how to pay them, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's too many ways.
Yeah.
You can take 10% of the coach's salary.
Yeah.
Or you can pay them for that 20 hours a week.
Well,
whatever pay scale you want to set in the NCAA.
Yeah. Well, we know that's possible. I hope that it happens. I hope it's not just a conversation to be convenient going into the Final Four as we crown a champion. I hope they actually put it in writing, put it on the books, so that we can have more things like that happen, where they actually stop taking money from young kids and tell them just, you know, good luck, congratulations, and hopefully you turn pro. We know only 1% gets there, and I know that's a problem, but I am at least emboldened by the fact that they brought it up. Big C, as we close, I do want to say that my good friend out here for the Golden State Warriors, you know, Durant, he was ejected from a game last night over at Oracle Arena and playing against Milwaukee. Now, I think there's two ways to look at this. Number one, you shouldn't use profanity, especially directed at another person, because if you do, you have a right to be tossed. But number two, I hope that we can have a warning phase, because people spend a lot of money to get into an arena to see athletes play at a highly emotional state, and when they use profanity, and no, they should not, I think they should have a cooling off period. If that doesn't work, then toss somebody, but don't just do it in the heat of the moment. Big C, that make any sense? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you have to go back as officials. Take a step back. You're in control of the game at all times.
Yeah.
You can take a step back, give a guy a warning, so look,
yeah,
pump the brakes or I'm going to throw you out.
Exactly.
Just don't do it. And we get that in all professional sports. And even in collegiate sports now, where these officials, because there's so much media coverage, figure that they're just as important in the game as the players.
Yeah.
And their showmanship. I mean, if you ever took a close-up of these officials,
yeah,
with their perfect hairdos and you know, shirts tucked in perfectly, and you know, they don't want to get any sweat on them. They wiping their brow as much as they look like they're wearing makeup most of the time.
Yeah.
But they become egotistical.
Yeah.
Because broadcasters spotlight them, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, I go back to the days in football when we had the streakers running out on the field and the fans running on the field.
Yeah.
And the networks used to show them all the time.
Yeah.
And so they became more and more emboldened.
Yeah.
And so they were a focal part of broadcast. Recently, they've cut that out.
Yeah.
If you cut out the officials, yes, you have to show them at times.
Yeah.
But if you stop doing close-ups of them, where no one recognizes who they are, then they become invisible in broadcast.
Yeah.
But as long as we make them part of a highlight reel where they speak, the motions they take, you know, I know in the NFL, you know, everyone talked about Ed Hockley, how buffed he was.
Oh, yeah.
That nobody would ever want to get into it with him, that he could take on any football player on the field. No, he couldn't.
He couldn't.
You know, he was an older man who worked out. That was it.
That's about
it. He couldn't take on any player. But he was a mainstay of a broadcast when he was on because, oh, look at his arms, you know.
Yeah.
Put him next to one of the players and look at his arms.
Yep, that's
no
true.
comparison.
No comparison.
But when you put him on that pedestal, that he took his game as far as his delivery to a different height.
Yeah.
He became more of a showman. You look at it in basketball, we get the same thing with these officials because there's so many young officials now in the NBA. They got rid of so many veterans that are retired, is that they're trying to establish themselves.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it a point that I can't be pushed around, that I'm going to show you that I'm dominant, that I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And, you know, when they talk about players sitting out games and how that robs the fans who have paid good money expecting to see a player.
Yeah.
What do they think when an official kicks a player out of the game?
Yeah.
What is that, Robbie?
Yep.
No one's criticizing that from a broadcaster's perspective.
Yeah.
But they will criticize that player if he wants to rest that night.
Yep, that's very true. In defense of Kevin Durant, I think what happened is he realized he went to a John Gruden, media conference, and John Gruden's notorious for cussing on the sidelines. So he thought he could get away with it too, Big C, but the different skin color don't get away with everything. And also the Raiders released, inexplicably, Marquette King, their all-pro punters, let go by the Raiders today. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, what I'm looking forward to is something that's always been a sore story, and we talked about it a little bit during the program. Is the problem with former NFL players dealing with concussions, depression, and just bad health. I want to talk about former Washington Redskins Super Bowl winning quarterback Mark Rippon, another one of those minority quarterbacks who is not in the Hall of Fame for winning a Super Bowl, who has suffered through depression, and even attempted suicide. After we lost the young quarterback at Washington State last year, Charlton, an apparent suicide, Troy Schuler.
Yeah. And
Rippon had a cousin who also played in the NHL, who died in 2011 of an apparent suicide based on depression, Charlton. And these are struggles that Mark Rippon has had, and the NFL is talking about fining players, kicking players out of games if they use their head. Mark Rippon played a quarterback.
Yeah.
And think about the multiple concussions that he took, and semi-concussions from being hit blindsided, driven into the ground. This is a long-term effect that players have been suffering with, and the NFL still has not acknowledged 100%.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking forward to in sports is that all football starts to recognize that we have a serious aging problem in this sport, that players who have left the game, whose bodies are no longer in peak condition, Charlton, are suffering, and their bodies are recessing, and there's no help for them.
Well, we hope that we can get that help just by bringing attention to it. There's always a start, and we hope to be the start for you. We want to wish everyone a happy Easter, and may you have lots of chocolate bunny rabbits, Big C, down south, you good boys, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.